Hey, so I wanted to come with just a quick tip that helped me detach in such a way so that my vibration can rise. And it's actually subtle and indirect. You wouldn't think it, but this is a big part of it. And it was the truth that had to get hammered into my head. And that everyone has the right to their own journey on this earth walk. And this is actually a big one. Before, politics was so big to me because, hey, if I can convince this, and I've been like conservative and liberal like within the same year. So this Republican or this liberal would understand that we can make these changes, and they gotta understand, and they need to grow up. And this white person over here is so racist, and they can't do that. And I'm gonna wake them up because that's not okay. And so politically, about racism, family members, oh man, you're doing this with your life, you need to change. And talking, which is nagging, because you can't control people. And I used to be that way because I think I know everything. Now, at the end of the day, I know about me. That's one thing. Shoot, no one has me beat on knowing me and being okay with it. But I don't have. All it is nagging when you're trying to change someone's opinion. And at the end of the day, they have the right to their own journey, and they have the right to do it the way they want, because it's not about the person I meet, which is another human. It's about their spiritual soul, and their spiritual soul is giving them lessons, and it goes deeper than that. I ask my angels a lot of questions, the archangels. Okay, why did I just see this guy get murdered by the police? Why am I seeing my people dying from COVID? Why did I see this girl get brutally raped? Why did I see them get kidnapped? Why is sex trafficking so big? Because, of course, when you learn the ability to channel higher being, these are the questions you ask. You better be asking. Actually, some people don't ask it, because I know I'd ask some of my mentors I was working with who could channel better at the time. They're like, oh, good question. I was like, you didn't ask? How do you not? And I kept getting answers like, that soul wanted to know what it was like to experience, this. They wanted to know what it was like to experience drug addiction. The soul wanted the experience where they learned enslavement and imprisonment. There was choice, and that soul, for its growth and evolution, chose this. Because one thing I have learned is that in all of the galaxies, we're the lowest dimensional galaxies. Meaning, if you really truly want to get an understanding of different negative emotions, this is it, right? Now, the other half of that is that there's dark forces trying to entrap us, so we're stuck in a karmic cycle, and if you don't do the work, you're enslaved to thinking this is all that is, and there is no spiritual help, and you're not a spiritual being. But that's the other conversation. But this is the way they go. And so every single time I asked, same answer: that soul wanted to do this. And I'd get a follow-up answer: if it wasn't supposed to happen, it won't happen. If it wasn't supposed to happen, their angels and guides wouldn't let it happen. And that was big. Because when I realized that, I just became so much better of a listener, because I was so detached. So you heard in my other videos when I'm talking to my 3D family and I'm 5D. They're just talking, and before it's like, well, you need to do this and you need to do that. But that change has come where it's like, I'm listening. I see what they can do possibly to fix it. I know that I've tried in the past to explain to them what needs to change, and they have not received it. And all I just go is like, huh. At the end of it, I listen and go, okay. I mean, if that's what you want to do, you have the right to your own journey. So my mom is one of those women that I love her. She complains a lot because she wants to control other people and get them to listen, because that need. I'm like, Mom, my sister Michelle has the right to her own journey. We've been telling her for 20 years that maybe that guy she's with isn't the right guy. She hasn't listened. It's not our fight. It's not our journey. It's not for you to stress out over. It's not for me to stress out over. Just in so many different ways, it just keeps coming up. And it always goes back to, you have the right. We've been telling her forever. If she is not at the point that she wants to get or receive it, or even move from her circumstances, right? Because I have family members who've been like in poverty for 40 years. Like, the rest of us aren't. So obviously we've learned how to work hard, but some of us to this day still haven't sat down and learned what it means to budget, one of the fundamental skills. learn what it means to bring in more income or to do those things. And at the end of the day, the detachment comes from, I'm like, I'm going to keep banging my fist against the law, trying to get this Caucasian person to understand it's not right for this police officer to kill this man who had his hands up. And this is the 20th video. Am I going to keep wasting my time trying to explain to him racism? Or am I just going to... I can't. That's his. Like, at the end of the day, what I do know, white and Caucasian people, you have to remove the racism and the generational racism that is in your bloodline. You inherited it from your ancestors. Like, I had to cleanse and clear my trauma from my ancestors. If you don't, that is part of the low vibration that will keep you from ascending. You guys saw when I was talking about, I don't know if I did George Floyd here on my real estate investing channel, but there is a reason in 2020 on the Ascension path, so many, just as many white people were out there protesting as black. There's people in Japan protesting, and people in Germany, people over the world protesting. And this time it was different because it wasn't just seeing George Floyd die, because he's not the first black man to be racially gunned down. But there was something inside them that was like, it is time for you to cleanse this. And a lot of these people who died, some of their spiritual warriors, they willingly gave up their life to prove a point or to spark that change. So make sure you thank them for that sacrifice to wake you guys up. You know, it's very altruistic when you saw that. Otherwise, and that's a hard thing for you guys to, like, for some people to understand. But constantly asking and then just seeing and getting to the state. And then it helped me get to the state of enlightenment that it's not for me to force, and just be able to accept what's going on. So that's why when you hear my 3D talks, oh, hey, for the people left behind, here's my advice. It wasn't like, do this now to not be left behind. It's like, hey, you have the right to your own journey, to wake up or not wake up. If you do wake up, I'm here, and I have a space for you to walk into where you don't have to feel judged. You can just get the answers and empowerment you need to get on the right track, right? Versus trying to force it. So it's a big learning lesson that got me to this state where I'll sit there and say, I don't care what they're doing. I manifest my life, but I also, it's just detached. You're not going to yank my emotions. You're not going to pull on my emotions. My emotions are energy for me. And I can see something really sad. And at this point, I don't ask anymore because there's answers. But I just sort of know, hey, if it wasn't supposed to happen, it wouldn't. And I know that fundamentally, because your spirit guides, I mean, they can they can save you. Trust and believe. Like, if something's not supposed to happen, they don't have a concept of time. They know what's going to happen, like, from step to step. They know what that guy's thinking. So if it's not supposed to happen, it's not going to. But it is really hard because there's so much trauma in the 3D. It's not easy to be okay with that. But I will say it's a level of detachment that helped me raise my own vibration. A level of detachment so I don't feel like I have to prove a point to someone who's low vibrational. So if I'm having, like, just like a slight issue, because it's not going to escalate to a big issue, and someone just doesn't get it or see, it's so easy to detach and go, it is not my job to get them to awaken. That's their soul and their spirit guide's job, and trust me, they're on it. So yeah, it's unfortunate that this guy or woman is causing so much destruction while they're learning the lesson. But there's always the other half of it. Like, we need to learn how to set intentions and create our own life. So, you know, I can be intentional and set one where every day I leave the house, I can go, you know, spirit guides, higher self. My intention is to only really meet enlightened people today who are really nice. I could do that if I wanted to, and it would hold. Of course, it won't be perfect, but it'll be it'll be at least 80%. And so that empowerment comes with understanding how intentions, magic, higher self works together, and utilizing that tool for ease in my life, which we're all supposed to be doing. We're spiritual beings, so we're supposed to be learning that. But I hope this helps you guys when it seems like you're talking to a brick wall, because you are. Because they're just not ready. They're not able, and nor do they want to be. And it just turns into, if you're having a conversation for the 20th time, like I used to with family members and friends, it's like, why? They don't want to leave that guy, even though he does that. They don't want to quit that job, even though they hate it. I'm so, at this point, I can't be invested emotionally in your choices and decisions. And it's not that I'm cold. I still have compassion. But I also understand, as much as I'd love to help, I can't help until they're ready to get the help, until they're ready to learn and grow on their own. And it seems subtle, but I actually got that from there's a book I recommend. It's called like the 13 Clan Sisters, and it goes over all the divine feminine aspects and 13 different stories and parables. And that one was like, you're trying to force this on someone else, but they have the right to their mistakes. And that's what we do in this society. We want to control people to get them right, quote unquote, but freedom, it's not our jobs. They have a whole team helping them out and working with them so that they can get to the state of enlightenment they need to. And it's just not. And so, such a relief. And I realized how that made me so much high vibrational, because you just don't get involved in these things. You don't see an injustice and immediately go, you still want to fix it, but you understand that there's higher things at play. That soul had a purpose. That interaction between the other souls had a purpose. And if it wasn't supposed to be happening, captured on tape, it would not be. And if it is captured, it was supposed to be to spark change in someone, and someone probably gave their life willingly. Like, I think George Floyd is the excellent example, because it's obvious to anyone who's seeing what's going on the spiritual level. It's obvious that those sequence of events were supposed to happen. He was supposed to be that gentle giant. It was supposed to be caught on tape. It was supposed to be so unjustly unfair that you can no longer ignore it, right? And so it's sad, but I also, from a higher perspective, right? And in 5D is about being at a higher perspective. It's not like this 3D illusion. It's understand what's going on at a higher level behind the scenes between their soul and their guides. It worked out just the way it was supposed to. Look how much it sparked and awakened. So, as I always like to say to our spiritual warriors like George Floyd, thank you for your service. That's what you say to our spiritual warriors who give their lives to spark change in us. You know, thank you for your service. Freely given. To be that person and to make that sacrifice to create the change and be catalytic in helping those who have been refusing to see racism start really actively removing it. You know, I tell people, if you go to Amazon, the top 5 books right now, because this is a soul level thing you need to do to ascend, is anti-racism. It is white supremacy and me, white privilege. You know, everything about the current infrastructure of racism, which isn't someone saying the N-word, okay? That is a part of it. That's literally 10%. I'm worried about. I've excused myself from the 90%. I excused myself because I realized very early on that I can't convince these people to be enlightened, and it's not my job. So my way of dealing with racism was being financially empowered and having my own business. That was my way of going. I'm not going to have you guys be my supervisors when you can't even see my humanity, when it's set up for me to be second class. And that was my way of successfully navigating out of it. And having money, because money can help with racism too in this country. So I always made sure I had enough to pay for lawyers or bail or pay a ticket. So, you know, some people act so excited because they know they don't have the money, and a traffic routine can go bad with racism involved. But that was my way of coping with it. So all that just to go that you can't control other people. You can only control yourself. If you want to keep beating your head against the wall, you can. I've seen it. I don't do it, but that's your choice. So everyone has the right to their own journey, and I want you to start looking, if you can, like, it's when you can channel. I can channel and ask, right, and get an intuitive, either from my higher self or from like a download, like, oh, this is what happened, da 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 da, and that makes sense because this, right? Or with my angels, I can ask, or my ancestors. So it's an advantage on understanding that higher perspective, but you can just ask the higher beings. But even if you don't have it, just ask, you know, that higher power, what was the learning lesson? Why did this happen? Well, you know, and you'll be guided to what the answer is. And when you start to see that and you start getting these answers, or even, you know, getting those downloads and seeing how when that atrocious thing happened, it did spark this, or it gives someone this. And it's not easy, but maybe if this one video can give you the start of recognizing it and stop beating your head against the wall. Stop trying to make someone who's 3D into 5D. Stop trying to, if you're a Christian, stop trying to make people into Christ if they're not. Like, just understand they have their own spirit team, and it is their right to be on this earth school and to learn it. So don't kill yourself. Don't waste your energy. You need your energy to stay high vibrational. Don't let people move your energy and tug on it to feed off of it like the dark forces do with their low vibrational activities to try to keep us in fear. Just own your power. But that helped me get to this level of detachment. And it's really served me spiritually. So that's why I'm passing it on. And it just helps me like not get involved. You know, like I still care, I still do things. Like this is my way of going, oh, if there's people still in 3D, I know I'm 5D, this stuff works for me. So if this, it empowered me, let me help empower you. If you're open to it, if you're not, that's okay. I'm not going to chase you down. But yeah, I'm still empowered, I'm still helping in the way I want to help, but it's concentrated and it's focused energy, and it's focused on those who want to hear and listen, not focused on talking to a brick wall. Okay? Because you've all done it, and so have I. But when you stop, it is so much more of a blessing. So hope that helps. I have more videos coming in addition to the ancestral weekly reading, which is really interesting this week. All right, thank you guys. Bye.